What is going on, everybody? It's the Reformation Keegan, and I'm here today with something a little bit different. Today, I'm not going to be the English major giving you an analysis. Instead, I'm going to give you what I believe is my top five most underrated Superman items in my own comic collection. So it's not just going to be limited to comic books, it's going to be limited to figures and other miscellaneous items. So let's get ready and see what my top five is. If you disagree with my own top five, it is not a top five list based off of quality. It's top five in value to me and what I believe is underrated in my collection in terms of other things that are in my grander and larger comic collection. So stay tuned and let's see what my top five brings in store. So at number five, we have the Superman Kingdom Come special. So Kingdom Come is probably my favorite comic story of all time. That's including both Marvel and DC. And this is the one shot special that subsequently came after it. And it's a really fun read. It's really quick. And I truly believe Kingdom Come to be a Superman story. And that may be the Superman bias coming at me, but I fully believe it is a Superman story based on morality and doing what the just and moral thing is to do in society when the term hero is a very misconstrued term. So I think that this is a nice little addition to it. And plus, you can't go wrong with a great Alex Ross cover, hence why it's number five in my most underrated collection. Because I thought about this and I went, okay, so when I'm discussing stuff that's underrated to me, am I going for appearance or legacy, or am I going for personal sentiment? And it's a combination of all three. And I believe that the Kingdom Come one shot special ticks every single box that I'm looking for when it comes to being an underrated element in my comic collection. So at number four, we have DC Comics Presents Superman versus Shazam. I think it's no secret to everybody that knows me that these are my two favorite heroes of all time. I really like the backstory between the two characters, especially if you have ever watched the DC Comics documentary on the origination of Captain Marvel. You'll know that Captain Marvel was really like a pseudonym for Superman for Fawcett. And I think it's really intriguing that when DC got the rights to the character, they had these characters merge. And I thought it was a really unique story as well. And you can see how Superman becomes Cat becomes Superman. The story writes itself. How are they going to get out of this mess? And how are they going to be able to become who they are? And it kind of shows in a backhanded way how similar the characters are, both in presentation and from looks, and also through their abilities. I really enjoyed this book too, and I really like the art to it. And the DC Comics Presents line is one of the most overlooked lines, I believe, in DC Comics history. So, because that's underrated, I felt like this story itself was pretty underrated. So, that's why it's number four on my top five underrated list. So at number three, we have the Superman Volkswagen car that is derived from issue number one of the Superman Batman series that came out in 2003 and had about 80 something issues. One of the top lines ever from DC, but I find a lot of cars are very underrated when it comes to everybody's collection, and that's why I have this on here. I paid a little bit for this guy. I think he was about $5 or $10. He was in between that range, but I thought it was a really nice one to have because I like the appearance of it, and also it's from a tremendous comic series. And anything that's Superman that looks good, I'm most likely going to grab it if I have the money to do so. So, not really much value on this guy in terms of price, but for me, sentimentally, I had to have him in my top five, which is why he's here. Number two, we have this figure of Superman Red Sun. So on comic book day last year, I picked this up for half off and it was a really good price. And Superman Red Sun is in my Mount Rushmore of favorite Superman stories because I do love a good Elseworld. I don't like everything always in the canon. I like sometimes when writers and creators think outside the box and think of great what ifs. And I know sometimes for a lot of comic fans that what ifs can be a complete opposite of what they're used to in the canon. But I think a good what if can show the complexities of a character and can really show how more diverse a character is than you can ever possibly imagine. That's the creative writer in me talking right there. Because when I was in university and I did creative writing, I was always thinking about what if stories, and I still do to this day. And hopefully one day I can publish a couple of them. So this figure kind of gives inspiration to that. And if you look at the back, this is an absolutely beautiful illustration for, in my opinion, actually an underrated Superman story, because I don't find a lot of Superman fans, except a couple of them, really talking about this story a lot. So I felt like I had to put this figure in here somewhere, and I like the old school articulation to it. I think it really fits with the theme that they were telling in Red Sun too. So that's why it's here, and it is at number two. Last but not least, I believe this is the most underrated comic in my collection, and that is book one of Superman Smashes the Klan. I cannot elaborate on how much I love this story. This is a perfect example of American history being accurately depicted from a perspective of social justice. And if you haven't read this, I highly recommend doing so. Some of these issues, there's three of them, are a little difficult to get, but I think getting the trade is a little more accessible. However, if you're a massive fan of Superman, I recommend just getting the original three. And as you can see, they're a little more manga sized. They're a little smaller than the stereotypical North American comic, but I really love the art in this too. The animated style art is incredible, and it tells a really good sentimental story. And Superman stories are all about being sentimental towards everyone else, and they're also about hope. And this gives you societal hope. Absolutely brilliant piece of literature here. And like I said, the cover's pretty cool, so that gives it points. But the story is what gives it the most points. This book, from an emotional standpoint, perspective of pathos, really hit me. And again, I said earlier in this video that I wasn't going to speak as someone from the English world in terms of literature, but this book just hit me too much to not put it number one. And that's why it's here, because it shows everybody on an equal playing field and what everybody's strengths are. And that's exactly what Superman is showing everybody's strengths, including his own, and how hope can bring you this sense of comfort. Even though Superman is not always portrayed by his villains as somebody that provides comfort, I think most human beings know that Superman provides hope through comfort. And that's what Superman Smashes the Klan does. That's why it's the most underrated aspect of my Superman collection. So it's going to be it for that top five. Let me know what you guys think. I'm going to add some more Superman memorabilia onto my YouTube. And if you have never checked it out yet, I recommend looking at my detailed analysis of Superman Smashes the Klan that looks at books 1 to 3 from a perspective of social justice and through an English major's point of view. So let me know if you guys have seen that. If not, please give it a watch. And don't forget, most of all, like, share, comment, and subscribe.